In the state of California, 3,500 inmates are serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. 71% of those are first-time offenders. I mean, these are people who never even encountered conflict with the law. And 62% of those were incarcerated under the age of 25, with most even being incarcerated under the age of 23. That leads me to believe we have a broke justice system.
All right, now, welcome to Own Us podcast, the voice for the incarcerated. I'm your host, B.G. Ali, and my co-host is the Black Sheep. Now, before we begin today's, show, I want to ask the viewers to really take a deep breath and imagine yourself having a life sentence with the possibility of parole. And then I want you to take an even deeper breath and imagine yourself having a life sentence without the possibility of parole. So today's show, we're going to be talking about parole, laws, and, just people living with hope, been down a myriad of years. So before we get into that, I want to share something with the viewers. So I was watching the movie Till, and two things kind of stood out that was mind-boggling, but, it kind of touched me in a way. So it was the part where his mother wanted an open casket, and she was like, no, I want America to see what they done to my son. And so it resonated that, I read this book in school, and I kind of, remember bits and pieces, but I had to look it up and look at the gruesome actual pictures of, that this was a reality. And I was saying, even in that time, the mother thought outside the box. She was like, show America what they did to my son. The other thing that stood out that I had no knowledge of at all until watching the movie is that he was carried out or held down, and that blacks helped facilitate his kidnap. And it just brings me to this American of today. And here, we're in a position to help our fellow inmates that, that fell to the wayside and trying to work themselves back. And this platform is not begging or asking for no money or anything of that such. It's just, chime in, get people to recognize, bang, make noise that, free our people, free our people. But, all right, before we bring the guests on, I want to enlighten you guys on something and read something so you can get an understanding of what's going on with the vast movement of people being coming home, and some being free and some not. So they passed a bill that if you was under the age of 23 when you caught your case, they kind of considering you. They consider your parole, the life sentences, and et cetera, et cetera. But just hold on, I'll read it to give you the understanding of why this fact is significant. So it says, whereas neurological research has concluded that the human brain is not fully formed until 25 years of age, and that young people do not have adult levels of judgment, impulse control, or the ability to foresee the consequences of their actions. And whereas condemning a young person to a life behind bars with no possibility of release entirely disregards the human capacity of rehabilitation. The enhanced ability to young people to grow and change, and the very real physical and physiological difference between younger people and mature adults. And whereas people of color are disproportionately sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, as evidenced by the fact that 68% of people who receive the sentence are Black and Latino. Black and Latino. What's the biggest gangs world? What is the biggest gang wars? Blacks and Latinos. I said that in the computer. The computer came on its own. But anyway, with no further delay, let's bring my boy to the show. I'll let him introduce himself. All right, man. Welcome to On Us, man. You know what I'm saying? The voice of the incarcerated. You know, what's your story? What's your name? You know, why we here, man. You know what I'm saying? Introduce yourself to the viewers and, you know, let them know why you blessing this platform.
My name is Prentice Banks. I'm blessing this platform because I believe my story needs to be told, and I believe that everyone needs to hear what is going on with me, and not only me, and throughout the system. I am, you know, been incarcerated for a long period of time, and I hopefully through this journey we'll be able to get familiar with each other, and I'd be able to give proper information and inform the communities of what it is that they need to know and seek out of me, and to help their families as well, you know what I mean, in this process.
Okay, when you say a long time, what's a long time? How old were you when you got locked up, and what kind of sentence that you have to say a long time?
Well, I was 18 when I entered, when I got my sentence. I've been incarcerated for over 33 years. I am 51 years old now at this current time, serving a life without the possibility of parole sentence.
Okay.
You know,
a life without the possibility of parole.
Yes, it came from a law which is called the felony murder rule, which is murder robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Was my particular subject of my case.
Okay. What do the possibility, life without the possibility of parole truly means to you, mentally and emotionally?
Well, when I first came in at 18 years old, I didn't understand the depth of what life without the possibility of parole means. You know what I mean? Now I have a greater understanding of it. It means that I will have the rest of my life committed to the Department of Correction if no appeal or anything should ever come up to allow me to have access to getting back to the freedom or to show my rehabilitation of being free.
Okay. And so emotionally, how are you affected by that?
Emotionally, it affects me a lot because having a life without the possibility for parole sentence, it brings up isolation. It brings up feeling abandoned. It brings up suicidal thoughts. It brings up, you know, a whole depth of like mixture of emotions of will I ever come home, or will I ever, you know, have an opportunity to see my family and friends or the community or be an impact on the community, you know, or will this be my life?
Okay, so with CDC saying they putting the R on rehabilitation, I mean, having a life without the possibility of parole, how's the rehabilitation part suits you? How do you feel about that?
Well, having a life without the possibility of parole sentence, rehabilitation does not apply to those serving life without. You know, rehabilitation is for everyone, but it does not apply to those that serve in life without, because we have no set date, and there is no curriculum that allow us to have any form of rehabilitation beyond the ones that's already has a set parole date, or those that have a set release date. These are where the programs go more towards, and we're the last of the last to receive any type of programming for rehabilitation.
Wow. And so it seemed hopeless situation. You know, what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? You know, seeing, viewing that as a hopeless situation. I believe that, hope is always, what keeps a man going, so we can see what the end game be like, because it's a lot of people who had short amount of time and committed suicide, and they changed the laws that them same people would have, made it home. So, and what you view as a hopeless situation, what gives you hope?
What gives me hope is that possibility that a law may change or something may come about to where it gives me an opportunity to be reviewed or to go home. But majority of my hope comes from my faith. Believing in the Most High, He would not allow me to stay somewhere where it's not meant for me.
Okay. All right. You say the Most High. It's common. I asked this question a few times to other brothers. It's common for us, as myself, that we seek or find God in places like that, and people view us as hypocrites all of a sudden. What's your take? What's your view on that? Because I personally believe in God, and that was my total walk, staying on the main line and knowing that, I was in the lion's den, and any given day, I could have not made it home, but just having that inner peace of, God got my back, and having a sense of introspection of knowing who I am as an individual and what God got in store for me. So I'm saying, for those who hear you, know you've been down this long, explain to them why God is important, or why it's just not a jail thing or just something you say to, please the viewers.
Well, I come from a background of a religious family. My grandfather was a Baptist preacher for 34 years. My grandma was the first lady. And I always had an interest in religion, but I didn't want to play with it. So throughout my incarceration, I always studied and maintained, the Bible that they gave me. I always used the Bible to give me some type of guidance and understanding of where my pathway should always go, and give me a moral compass. And in the course of doing that, I picked up the family radio school, the Bible college. I graduated from there. I went to Bible college. I got my diploma from there. As of 7/22, I became an ordained minister in the state of California. So religious always have given me a foundation to maintain hope, faith. You know what I mean? It gives you a sense of like it's not over yet.
Okay, your phone went kind of low, and I think this is important. But your phone is like static a little bit. It kind of went static a little bit.
Okay, that much better.
Yeah. So you said, in time being down, you became a ordained minister?
Yes, as of 7/22/23, I became a licensed ordained minister in the state of California.
Okay.
And, I graduated from the Open Bible Club, and I got my diploma in that, which I'm very proud, because that's living out the legacy of my grandfather. That was a Baptist preacher. And that's what gives me my foundation of hope, giving me a foundation of my moral standards. It's giving me a foundation of a purpose in life, beyond me, So without faith, I don't think I would have made it through half of the years I made it through.
Okay, so I'm saying, this could be relevant or irrelevant. You still surface on the main line?
Yeah, I'm still on the main line.
Okay, so that's a plus to have that kind of hope, that kind of drive. What are your other achievements? I think it's important that people know your other achievements, that you just wasn't sitting, in time and letting time do you, but doing the time. So give us some feedback on your other achievements, if any.
entered the prison system, I had a 4.0 comprehension. I didn't have no GED, didn't have a high school diploma, nothing. So in 1997, I graduated and got my high school equivalent. And the first time in my life, I have entered college. So I'm in two colleges. One is Utah College, which is a hustle 1.0. And then I'm at Cal State LA in Alamo Valley College, studying to get my communication degree. And the other one is to get my leadership and management degree.
Okay.
I also mentor youth. I mentor youth that his name is Stefan McKnight. He came out of Mary Mesa High School out of San Diego. He went to Arizona College, and now he's in Oregon State as a wide receiver. You know, I'm giving back to the communities. I do a lot of donations to the communities. I crochet, I draw, I do whatever I can to make sure I give back in some form or fashion, to those in need.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit you with another question of what is the impact of you being incarcerated in so lengthy of a time have on your family, and how y'all deal with it together as a whole?
The impact on my family, me being the youngest child of my mother, I was the last born of her. It was dramatic on my family because during the course of me being locked up, I lost both parents. I lost my grandparents. I lost my older sister and a niece and a nephew. My nephew died by suicide. He was 11 years old. My niece got murdered by her ex-boyfriend. But the impact on my family is, who wants their child in prison for the rest of their life, And I seen it in my mom's eyes, and she fought to her last breath, that she was hoping that I would be out before she passed. And she died from ovarian cancer. And my father, he passed away from a heart attack. And it's like, it's, I get choked up talking about it because it's like, I was hoping that something would change to give me that last moment with them, and it's like, you never realize how precious old time is when you have it. And then when it's gone, it's like, the things you want to say, the things you could have said, and you can't say. So you can only remember, and hold on to the memories.
Yeah, so many people take things, for granted. So do CCR see these achievements and give you guys a chance, to be, recognized for your achievements? And take these achievements in any considerations?
Well, for Life Without School, CDCR do not recognize our achievements. There's no mechanism in CDCR that will give us a suitability review or any form of reviews to see our achievements or anything of the source. In 93, they had actually removed the board of prison terms away from all LWAs because they passed an amendment to now deny all life withouts from any referrals after 30 years to the governor or review boards through the board of prison terms to go to the governor for review for computations and so forth. So there is no mechanism in CDCR as of right today, as of 2023. There's nothing that gives us access to rehabilitation or reviews.
Okay, so if the law came into effect that, if I recollect correctly, you said you was 18 when you caught your case, right?
Yes.
Okay, so with the new laws, I think it was Prop 57, and scientists and all that blah, blah, blah understood that we didn't have the mentality to think right, and that we wasn't mature. Our brains didn't mature to the age of 25. Why would that not pertain to people, with the LY? Why, if the sentence law is the sentence law and the laws change
Well, what happened in the law is they did a split decision in the law. And when SB 9, Senate Bill 9 came into play, they said anyone under the age of 18 is unconstitutional to give a child because his mental capabilities have not matured enough to give him life without. So in 2019, we filed under equal protection saying, hey, no, we're still considered to be youth offenders because under CDCR, they had a youth offender policy that says if you're under the age of 25, you're considered to have a youth offender board hearing. Well, CDC and the court said, no, you're not entitled to that. So we filed a number of petitions to the courts, and People versus Harding came into play where a judge actually granted it, saying that, no, there's equal protection under the law says if you're under the age of 26, you're considered to be a juvenile. What the courts did is say, well, there's a separation between juvenile and youth offenders. So now CDCR is now appealing the Harding case because they do not wish to proceed with any youth offender board hearings until they are told to do so. So as of right now, me being 51 years old and having my case, I'm coming into the system at 18. There's no mechanism that's in place, or there's nothing in policy that would allow me to be reviewed or seen.
So is that considered ambiguity? Like saying something but giving it another name or outcome in order to keep the people with life without down? Is it true law or is it ambiguity?
I think it's policy that is not being followed. It's just a simple policy. Just they're scared to touch life without. You know what I mean? And they don't know what to do with life without. Life without is supposed to have been for the most heinous crime.
Okay.
And I am a first-time offender. I have no criminal history. None whatsoever. This is my first time ever being in prison with no juvenile record. But I got life without the possibility of parole with 9 years.
Okay.
And from 33 years to never receive a suitability review or any kind of review to say, hey, we see that you're doing something and we'll try to do something for you. Nothing. I have not been seen not once. So I would say the system is literally has a clearing policy that life without, you're condemned.
And
there's nothing we can do for you.
And so if you had the right moment, the right chance, and very few words that will hit a person at the right time, maybe a lawyer, politician, what would that be? What can you offer them other than, it looked like we begging for our life or that we pleading for our life, which is a honorable thing for a man to plead for his life or plead for a chance, but without sounding desperate of a plea. What can you tell them why they need to look into this, case where lifers have a chance, people with life without the possibility of parole have a chance to at least go to the board to be reconsidered?
Well, I believe it's people like me as a prime example of being in the system from 18 years old to 51 years old is a good cause for a review at some point to see if I have a nexus of my crime or if I have followed the rules and regulations or I have achieved the rehabilitation case plans that they have set for me to achieve. You know what I mean? To say, okay, he has made an effort. So we can refer him to the courts or we can refer him to the governor. You know what I mean? Or let's create a policy that gives life without some type of hope or remedy. You know what I mean? To find a pathway out. Or let's talk to the legislators when they're passing these bills in regards to life without. Let's have Zoom meetings with the people that it affects. Let's have a dialogue with the people that it affects, because as of right now, people making rules and regulations or making policies and procedures concerning us will not even communicate with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm 100% behind you on that. It's the reason why this is important to me. You know, having given the inmates a voice, because being locked down and seeing the forgot about and seeing the real change in men who I sit down and gave me and has, you know, I sat in ciphers and they have gave me knowledge that was far before I was able to or willing to grasp it, and just seeing the humbleness that comes from what the society see as animals. And anytime any man could make these same mistakes, like, I don't know, guilty, innocent, wrong place at the wrong time, and that's not something I tap in order for a man to incriminate himself. But I do know that at some point we all have fallen short of the glory of God. We all have did crimes. A lot of rich people, they're able to cover up certain crimes, but a lot of mistakes has been made in the same essence as yours, not even knowing the depths of the case. But for them to just have the lock up, throw away the key syndrome, or the lock away, throw away the key mentality, is a taught and corrupt system within itself. So at some point, the system got to change from within, and in order for it to trigger, out on these streets, because it is a big movement going on, but it's just the inmate movement has been forgot about. So like I said, you can get on Instagram and YouTube and tap in on the channel, and if they twerking, they getting 1 million views and doing certain things. But it's important that we keep giving y'all that chance and that shot to keep telling y'all story, keep ramming that story, down their throats, for lawyers to be able to come up there and be like, well, can we review your file? Let me see your achievements, because you guys are achieving goals that men is not even reaching up out here. And we seeing through studies and research that we only 0.1, or if that number, I can correct it, part of the recidivism rate. So when a man being
1% of recidivism.
Repeat that.
We're life without are 0.1% of recidivism of ever coming back to prison. The Pope even said that if they was to let out anyone, he would let out life without. The Department of Correction said that if they was to let out anyone, they would let out life without, because the recidivism, after so many years of being incarcerated, there was a turning point of awareness, of insight of a person. You know what I mean? And when you find that insight, everything becomes clear. The decisions that you make, the choices that you have, everything has a clear pathway to it. Speak on it. About you. Speak on it. Speak on it. Like me, my turning point, when I came into 18, like I said, I couldn't read anything. When I finally got in college and I started seeing other brothers achieve degrees and bachelor degrees, I'm 30 units away from getting my first AA degree. 30 units away from getting my other AA degree in leadership and management and communication. And then that's one of the proudest moments. I am the first in my family to go there. I'm the first member of my family to achieve such a high honor of becoming an ordained minister beyond my grandfather, to follow his legacy. That's something that I'm proud of. That's something that I'm looking at my legacy. And I can give my legacy and my experience and my life over to the next generation, because I think I'm the generation from coming to prison. Exactly. Because it hurts me to see everything in my life beside prison. The average age of prisoners is from everything 18 to 35-year-old. He just had longer in prison. It was 30 months till I was over the house. Yo, the phone cracking up, going in and out. We just lost it. Is it better right right there?
Yeah, it just came in. Try to repeat the first of your family to achieve that goal.
I'm the first to ever achieve getting into college. I'm the first person to achieve, 30 units away from getting my first AA degree in communication from Cal State LA. I'm the first to achieve 7 units away from getting my Utah leadership and management degree. I'm the first in anything that has happened positively in my family. I'm the first.
Yeah.
And to carry my grandfather's legacy of becoming an ordained minister, that's the greatest turning point in my life, because now I know he's proud of me. Man. I'm proud of myself, because as a man, I never thought at 1 second I can ever achieve anything, because I couldn't comprehend, because I had a 4th grade level of comprehension. Now I'm in college.
Amen, man. Congratulations. All right, before we end this, is it anything that you want to share that you feel society should know and should know about you and know about the system? And then I got one last question after you address anything that you want to address. This is your moment, your time to talk to society.
But I would like for the society to know the 18-year-old man that came into the prison, he don't exist. He has taken a journey to become a man. He has learned everything that he needs to know that life is important. Family is important. Understanding his decisions is important. Making sure the community is safe for the next generation is important. Everything that we do in life has an effect, the cause and effects to it. Without understanding that, what pathway do we have as men? You know what I mean? We have many young men out there that's seeking leadership. And I'm ready to get out there and do that and make a bigger impact. Because what I believe is my experience and understanding the youth experience, we can meet in the middle and we can find a common understanding to change. And if we make that change, how many other lives we have saved? How many other mothers we have stopped from crying because their child has come to prison? How many lives we have saved from mothers crying late night because their child has been killed or hurt because of something that there's a narrative that's out there that's we're not worth anything. We don't have, we don't have the resources to give to save our children. You know what I mean? No, we have the resources. We have the people in place. We have the leaders. I'm asking society to allow us to take that position and do what we're supposed to do and save our kids, save our generation, teach our youth the right ways and give them the moral guidance and principles back the way we was raised.
Man.
I want to save lives, man, in this time.
Man, so I feel that, man, real talk, and see the authenticity into it. My last podcast, I asked a brother, what can we say? What is the code? What is the identity? What is it that we're not doing or not willing to do or not able to do to capture a 15-year-old boy who's headed down that road, to stop them from turning and going into the mental state of misery and the physical state of misery, which is prison? What would you tell that young man?
I would tell that young man, I understand him because I was 15 years old. I would tell that young man to pause his life for just one brief moment and learn how to make a sound decision. Not let the world that surrounds him corrupt you
breaking up. You breaking up. A little bit better. A little bit better for you. But it's still breaking up. No, it's still kind of low. Yeah, that's a whole lot better. Okay. I would continue telling the youngster that his life matters. And every decision that you make in life is crucial. Because from 15, 16, 17, the world seems like it has to offer you everything under the sun. But if you make that wrong decision and not really thoroughly investigate what it is that decision you're making, it can take your life for the rest of your life. And you can end up like me in prison for the rest of your life, fighting for your freedom, fighting for your family, fighting for the things that you have dreamed about for years, just to walk down the street or walk to the store. That'll be taken away from you. So I talk to the youth. I ask them to reach out for help. If they're feeling like there's no hope, reach out. Ask for help. Put your egos and pride to the side. We understand that your emotions cause you to become a reactionary person. But that's not you. We understand that you were never taught how to cope with situations or mitigate situations. But this is why we're here as elders to teach you how to cope with situations. All we ask is for you to come to us. Tell us what it is that's going on with you so we can aid you, so we can help you. We're not here to downgrade you. We're not here to disrespect you. We just want to understand what it is that you're going through so we can allow our experiences and our resources to aid you through whatever it is you're going through. We are each other's brother's keepers. Brothers keepers. Well said. We're present. We're just waiting on you to come and unlock that door and say, I need help. And we here. We're not going to abandon you. Well said. That's what I was telling you today. Well, we're going to have to do another, you're going to have to come on again, man, and direct one straight to the youth and, you know what I'm saying, and introduce a subject. I think they need to hear, you know, something coming from a man without the possibility, you know what I'm saying, of parole, with still hope, with smiles, achieving goals. I think it'll be very conducive and very inspiring, and it'll touch, if we only get one, if we touch one, that's still a job well done. Right. You know, and I appreciate you blessing the platform, you know what I'm saying, on us, and we will be, you know, linking up again. For sure. I would like to say one thing before we go, right? This is what I will give to the congressmen, the senators, and the law enforcement, and whoever. You have leaders in the prison. Utilize your resources from prisoners. Open up some Zoom meetings with prisoners. Take us into the schools. Take us into places where there's need for that conversation of where they're headed. This won't be a scare straight program. It'll be a dialogue of experience versus the unexperienced. We have prisoners on the streets. We have prisoners in the prison. Take us into schools. Allow us to communicate. Ask any question they need of us so we can give them a proper answer back. That's how we make change. Speak on it. Because they're seeing firsthand what prison is. They're speaking to people that's firsthand in prison. They're speaking to lifers and life without people that lost their lives firsthand. It's not a game anymore at that point. Because we're going to tell them, after this date, you can make a sound decision. If it's your freedom that you want, or is it prison that you want? And we don't want you in prison. So we're going to do everything that we can to provide what resources we have. If we got to do fundraisers in prison to provide you things for school, the clothes, the shoes, whatever it is that you may need to achieve that goal, we're going to do it to make sure you stay free and safe. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for blessing the platform.
All the time. All the time.
According to Michelle Alexander, author of The New Jim Crow, it is no longer socially permissible to use race, explicitity, as a justification for discrimination, exclusion, and social contempt. So we don't. Rather than rely on race, we use our criminal justice system to label people of color criminals and then engage in all the practices we supposedly left behind. And then she goes on and states, today, it is perfectly legal to discriminate against criminals in nearly all the ways that it was once legal to discriminate against African Americans. Once you're labeled a felon, the old forms of discrimination, employment discrimination, housing discrimination, denial of the right to vote, denial of educational opportunity, denial of food stamps and other public benefits, and exclusion from jury service are all suddenly legal. Wow. Hashtag is on us to deliver the news. Hashtag because it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, society, world, how y'all doing? I'm Abdullah the Black Sheep coming to you live once again. I want to commend the brother and Prentice Banks for coming on the show and sharing the story with us. BG Ali, you know, you do what you do, baby boy. I see you one time. I was tripping off the contents and the context and what the brother was talking about in reference to being a life without the possibility of parole inmate, you know what I mean, serving time. Now, in talking about, you know what I mean, individuals should be given chances. We do not undermine anything or any feelings or emotions that a person may have for the victims lost in the crimes that were committed, you know what I mean, for these individuals to receive this type of time. You know what I mean, it had to be something heinous. That's what life without possibility of parole. They were, this particular sentence was served for those individuals that were given at least the modicum of respite. Now, and these individuals, you know what I mean, in my experience with them, you know what I mean, don't have much to motivate them to want to push forward. Some of them don't have that I don't give a fuck mentality, which is understandable and deservedly. But with the R up on rehabilitation now is open the door and the possibilities for even a life without the possibility of parole inmate, you know what I mean, to find himself sitting in front of a board, you know what I mean, and finding himself released on the streets. I have seen it. I know individuals right now today that had life without the possibility of parole that is now sitting on the streets. Now, there was a process at one time where that life without was least in line for any type of programs. Life was next least in line, and anybody who had a parole date were given the opportunity of paroling sooner because they were given the access to these programs a little bit more. So as a life without the possibility of parole inmate, you know what I mean, I understand your frustrations, you know what I mean, that you once had. However, for somebody like the brother Prentice and other individuals I know that have a life without the possibility of parole, they continue to strive in the mannerism and they're carrying a push in the mannerism now that puts them in a position to have their sentence commuted. You know what I mean? This should be their incentive. You know what I mean? Especially being on these non-designated programs. You know what I mean? As African-American males, you know what I mean, coming to these programs, having life without the possibility of parole inmate. This should be that incentive, that they should be granted the opportunity of having clemency or having their sentence commuted, you know what I mean, by the governor, you know what I mean, after sending a board review in there to see whether or not their transformation is a serious one. So, and is measurable. You know what I mean? Growth is measurable. So, again, you know what I mean, prison, you know what I mean, takes a toll on us. You know what I mean, we lose loved ones, you know what I'm saying, we find ourselves in situations where it's that, it's just a situation that happens. So, you know what I mean, you got to bounce back, you got to have a sense of resilience in prison. And life with our inmates, you know what I mean, exemplify that idea of resilience, especially when they're striving to make themselves better individuals or more positive individuals, so that society as a whole benefits from these particular individuals. You know what I mean, in particular our youth. You know what I mean? We need to be the ones speaking to them. So, you know what I mean? I commend the brother, you know what I mean, with ideas about how to put something on the table to say, hey, this is how we help fix our problem, because I was that problem that you overlooked or you never looked at, per se. So, again, with that, I'm going to leave as I came. I'm through the Black Sheep. I want to thank the brother for sharing, giving us some of his time. BG Ali, love one, do what you do. You know what I mean? It's always love. You know what I mean? Breast cancer, your fight is our fight. It's like what we pushing up in here on us live. You know what I mean? We're with y'all. So I leave as I came. I'm out.